Hey guys, what's happening? Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. And as requested, today we're finally diving into Aliens vs Predator Requiem, the 2007 sci-fi thriller that follows the events of Paul W.S. Anderson's AVP. Introducing us to a new hybrid creature and giving us a hint of the Earth War written by Mark Verheiden, Requiem follows the Xenomorph infestation of a small town. For a bit of context and to understand the world building so far, the first film revolved around a specialized team recruited by Wayland Industries to explore a buried pyramid beneath the subantarctic island of Bovetova.
Congratulations, Mr. Wayland. Looks like you'll be leaving your mark after all.
Not realizing they were initiating a predator rite of passage, they find a sacrificial chamber and evidence of a prehistoric civilization. The team then accidentally activated the pyramid, turning it into a live maze, whilst also awakening a dormant queen that began laying eggs. Joining them are three adolescent predators that lured them to the site, young bloods about to engage in a hunt, one that would elevate them in the Yachuwa society and grant them the use of more advanced weaponry and armor. While the hunters Celtic and Chopper were killed by a single xenomorph, the third, known as Scar, transformed into a blooded predator with a few successful kills, before a nearby facehugger leapt onto his head and implanted an embryo inside of him. Through translation of the pyramid's hieroglyphs, Alexa and Sebastian learned that the predators had been visiting Earth for thousands of years. More than that, they actually also taught early human civilizations how to build pyramids and cultivate the nearby lands.
They taught humans how to build, and were worshipped as gods.
Every 100 years, unblooded predators would visit the Earth to take part in a dangerous hunt. Humans then sacrificed themselves as hosts for the xenomorphs, creating the ultimate prey for the predators, who, if overwhelmed, would activate a self-destruct device to eliminate the aliens and themselves. Anticipating the danger of a xenomorph infestation, they realized the young predators must be allowed to succeed in their hunt.
This pyramid is like a prison. We took the guards' guns, and now the prisoners are running free. To restore order, the guards need their guns.
Alexa, who ends up being the only survivor, even helps Scar with a xenomorph kill, and the pair form a unique alliance. Scar then fashioned a shield and weapon for Woods before marking her with the blood of a xenomorph, indicating that he'd accepted her as a skilled warrior and a member of his clan. Leveling the structure and destroying all the aliens inside, they make it to the surface, only to then have to confront the Queen, who also escaped. Seeking vengeance for the destruction of her brood, the Xenomorph Queen mortally wounded Scar before plummeting into the freezing water. Importantly, much like the end of Predator 2, after the death of Scar, a Predator ship that had been watching the events uncloaked itself, revealing several blooded and elite predators. Recognizing their fallen brother had burnt their clan emblem onto her face, their leader handed Alexa a gift in recognition of her courage. Unfortunately, as the hunters withdrew back into space, a chestburster erupted from Scar, giving us the first look at the hybrid abomination known as the Predalien. Picking up directly after this, AVP Requiem begins with the creature molting out of the body and quickly wreaking havoc. Sneaking up on a hunter polishing a xenomorph skull and killing him, the creature dodges the plasma caster attacks of another that create a hole in the hull, sending the ship crashing down into a forest outside of the small town of Gunnison, Colorado. Seeing it fall from the sky, a father and son hunting team track the ship to a crater in the forest. But not realizing the danger they were in, they begin knocking on the exterior, attracting the attention of facehuggers that escape their containers and seal their doom. Although the remaining injured predator on board triggers a distress signal, alerting his kind to the catastrophe about to occur on Earth, he's swiftly dispatched by the Predalien. While Sam manages to shoot one of the facehuggers, the acidic blood that splashes back burns his arm off, enabling the other facehuggers to overpower and implant the duo with embryos.
Watch out!
And we begin to find out that nobody is safe. Unlike the movie Aliens that alluded to the shocking decimation of everyone on LV-426 by the Xenomorph Hive, Requiem delivers the tragic fall of Gunnison in detail from beginning to end. Receiving the emergency transmission from his brothers, an elite predator on Yachuwa Prime reviews the footage that they sent over before their deaths. Seeing the hybrid species on his screen, and knowing the Xenomorph menace would overrun the planet, reveling in the hunt to come, the Predator gears up and flies over to Earth as we're introduced to the main characters. Back in the quiet town, one of our protagonists named Dallas arrives directly after his release from prison. Picked up at the bus station by Sheriff Eddie Morales, his old friend and partner in crime, the pair reminisce and talk about all that's changed since.
Yeah, I usually ride in the back. I seem to remember you being with me a couple of those times.
When questioned about whether he had any work lined up, Dallas asks if the sheriff was hiring, but Eddie explains he had enough trouble convincing people that he was right for the job. While he could technically hire anyone, with trust being an important part of leadership, he clearly doesn't want to abuse that power. Telling him he would ask around to see if anyone was hiring, the sheriff alludes to the notion that if Dallas were to change his life around, like him, anything was possible, including Dallas potentially becoming a deputy. He also learns that his younger brother Ricky has been getting into a lot of trouble. Without guidance, he's become combative with everyone in his life, the same path that his brother went down.
You see my brother?
Actually, I've been seeing him too much.
With a dog locating Sam's hand in the forest, a massive search begins to look for him and his boy. At the same time, Ricky is forced to deliver a pizza to the home of his crush Jessie, who happens to have her boyfriend and his dick-headed friends over.
Cute outfit, Rick. Yeah, it's in Halloween in October.
At least now I know who ordered the sausage lovers.
As expected, with Ricky making fun of their limited intelligence, Dale attacks him before throwing his keys down the drain. We then find Sam and his son waking up to witness the horror of chestbursters erupting from their stomach, as the other facehuggers make their way into the town via the tunnels, along with the Predalien, impregnating everyone they find along the way. Also arriving into Gunderson for the first time in a while is a soldier named Kelly, returning home from being deployed overseas as a member of the US Army's 101st Airborne Division. While her husband Tim is excited to see her and tries to bridge the gap between them, their daughter Molly, who barely recognizes her mother, is unsure how to feel about it all.
I want Dad to read it. Okay.
Luckily for the world, wanting to test itself, the elite predator lands on the planet and locates the fallen ship. Entering inside, the hunter mourns the death of its brothers and formulates a plan. Determining a number of facehuggers and a potential queen were about to infest a populated area, thereby putting the entire planet in danger, the predator gears up for the ultimate hunt before destroying the ship and all remnants of the facehuggers and their victims. Meanwhile, after stopping his brother from attacking Dale with a weapon, Dallas offers to help him climb down into the sewers to locate his keys. What they find below is unsettling. Ricky discovers where his keys were, but also spots a chestburster in the dark, while Dallas finds shattered skin, indicating another one had already grown into a xenomorph. As the predator uses acid to disintegrate the evidence under the cover of heavy fog, Eddie is forced to call the search off until morning. Spotting the predator at work, his deputy hides in the forest and watches, but when his radio goes off, alerting the hunter to his location, the predator engages its camouflage and takes him out, preventing him from alerting the others. Meeting Dallas at a local cafe the following morning and informing him that they haven't found the bodies, the sheriff is shocked to learn from Carrie that her husband Ray, one of the deputies that stayed out a bit longer, hasn't returned home. Worse still, against his character, he didn't call to let her know where he was.
Ray didn't come home?
Eddie, I thought he was out with you. I tried his cell phone.
Carrie, Ray was pushing real hard last night. I'm sure he's still looking.
He always calls, Eddie.
Unfortunately, when they go out to look for him, the remaining cops find his corpse strung up and skinned in one of the trees, a common tactic used by the predators before they ultimately claim their prize, the skull and spine of the creature they hunted.
You know what it would take for a man to do this? For someone to skin a human being?
Discussing their morbid discovery with the coroner, the sheriff also notes that they found no tracks. With no idea how dangerous their plan was going to be, after informing Ricky that she broke up with her boyfriend, Jesse tells him to meet her at the local pool later that night. At the same time, finding remnants of strange xenomorph hive constructs in the sewers, the predator continues its hunt to destroy the evidence, acidifying all the human and xenomorph remains. The hunter also begins setting up traps and thermal mappers as it moved ahead, anticipating a coordinated ambush. With xenomorphs sneaking up on him from all sides, he takes two of them out using his plasma caster, before wrestling the other two like a Giga Chad with each hand. Unfortunately, before he can finish him off, the Predalien arrives and knocks him away using its immense strength. With the uncontrolled plasma blast creating a dividing barrier between them, the Xenomorphs begin sneaking out of the sewers through manholes around town, and just like that, the hunt within town is initiated. Hearing Richie the chef screaming in the kitchen, Carrie runs in to find the Xenomorphs tearing him apart. Collapsing in fear, she then closes her eyes as the Predalien orders the Xenomorphs to leave her alone. Unlike the other victims though, after spotting she was pregnant, the Predalien begins to lay eggs down her throat, precipitating the town's downfall. Overwhelmed by the horror of what they saw in the forest, the sheriff finds Dallas in the local bar and tells him that this kind of thing doesn't happen here. Notified by dispatch that there was a gas explosion in the sewers under 16th Street he needed to check out, Eddie allows Dallas to join him.
Come on. I'll ride in the back.
Here I think it's important to note just how terrifying the Predalien actually is. The creature takes most of the physical characteristics of its Yachuo host, sharing the same basic body and features like their mandibles and functional dreadlocks, with the addition of a xenomorph tail. While taking the combined physical strength and durability of a mature predator and a xenomorph queen, it actually adopts most of the mental characteristics of the xenomorph. What's interesting and horrific to consider is that while most other xenomorph queens required the development of an egg sac to produce ovomorphs containing facehuggers, the Predalien was able to latch onto the face of people using its mandibles and implant embryos directly into the host. Another worrying thing about confronting a Predalien is that despite its immense weight, it is still quite nimble on its feet, being able to move as fast as smaller xenomorphs. In the expanded universe, due to the random mutations caused by the spontaneous hybridization, Predaliens often displayed rather odd tendencies. In the movie, it's clear that the young Predalien queen was trying to build a hive and created xenomorph drones to protect her. However, in the Alien v Predator video game, the Predalien didn't interact with other xenomorphs. In fact, it didn't attempt to coordinate with the hive, preferring to track down and hunt the humans on its own. I think this can be attributed to genetic variation. My belief is that the Predalien in the movie shared more DNA with its alien predecessors, hence its desire to hive build and lay eggs, while the abomination in the video game took more from its predator side, preferring to just stalk and hunt prey. The creatures appeared to hunt, but didn't operate in the same manner as predators with an honor code. Anyone and everyone was a target. Their trophy collecting was also the result of ingrained memory inherited from the host, as it didn't seem to understand why it killed beyond when it was under threat or hungry, choosing to throw the trophies aside rather than keep them like the predators. The rare Predaliens are of course seen as abominations by the race of hunters. This is why Top P is so keen to bring it down, but with only one Yachuo hunting it and a xenomorph army backing it up, my boy has a run for his money. Tracking a number of xenomorphs to the local power station, the invisible hunter begins killing the acidic menace as they slaughter the workers. Frustrated that one managed to injure him, the predator starts firing at every xenomorph that moved, destroying the facility and causing the entire power grid to collapse. Meanwhile, Ricky follows Jessie into their school pool, learning that she had taped the lock after class. The 304 has skills, but as they begin to kiss, Dale and his boys gang up on Ricky. Pushing him into the pool, the trio are about to drown him when a xenomorph takes a dip and snacks on Mark, forcing the others to frantically run away. However, in their desperate scramble, they head towards the lockers and find that the exit is closed. Escaping through a small window, they look back in terror as a xenomorph claims the life of Nick. From here, things in Gunnison begin to get crazy. Spotting an alien in the backyard using the night vision goggles her mother gave her, Molly screams for help. Running into her bedroom, her parents try to assure her that there were no monsters outside, but find out this is not true, with one of them attacking Tim as Kelly grabbed her daughter and ran outside. Finding the xenomorph eating what was left of Nick, the predator kills his prey and destroys evidence of the attack. Of course, with the attacks beginning to get out of hand, he's going to find out that he cannot do this indefinitely. Locating Dallas, Eddie, and the massive team trying to contain the blaze at the power plant, Ricky, Jessie, and Dale tell them what happened at the school, sending them to the pool. But when they arrive, they find nothing but charred remains, claw marks, and piles of blood in the lockers. Realizing they needed help, Dallas advises Eddie to call the National Guard, but when they try to use the radio and check on the ETA for the response team, they get nothing but static, with all outgoing calls blocked. As the sirens begin flaring and people begin scrambling to escape the infestation, the predator heals itself in the forest. The group also run into Darcy, Richie's wife, who explains that she found the remains of her husband and Carrie in the diner, and so needing to arm themselves, despite still not knowing what they were up against, they break into the sporting goods store, along with Kelly and her daughter, who were drawn in by the flashing lights on Eddie's car. With the National Guard finally arriving into town, Eddie makes contact with Lieutenant Woods and warns them to be careful, before hearing the sound of them being slaughtered by a horde of xenomorphs. We also discover the reason why there were so many of them around now. Not only was the Predalien implanting single embryos in each human that was captured, but upon breaking into the hospital, it began to lay numerous embryos in every pregnant woman, as it had done with Carrie. Seeing the Xenomorphs crawling above the store, the Predator stealthily disarms Dallas and starts laying siege on the aliens, whilst also killing the 2 store clerks that pointed guns in its direction as everyone ran out. It then fires a plasma shot, killing the Xenomorph that had pinned Dale to the ground, but with the acidic blood spilling on his face, he ultimately dies a horrifically painful death. Finding the tanks and equipment of the National Guard abandoned, the group reach a crossroad. Eddie contacts Colonel Stevens, who tells him to head to the middle of town and wait to be airlifted to safety, but Kelly informs him that the command didn't make sense.
I think the Colonel was lying.
That's crazy. The government doesn't lie to people.
And Kelly is right. Instead of trying to save them, having seen footage of the Xenomorphs attacking the team, Stevens is resorting to containment measures. His plan is to send everybody to the middle of the city and lure all the Xenomorphs towards them, before leveling the site with a nuclear bomb, using the power plant malfunction as a cover. Not believing her, Eddie sadly leads another group of survivors they encounter towards the middle of town, while Kelly, Molly, Dallas, Ricky and Jesse went to the hospital. Reasoning the detonation would occur very shortly, killing them if they attempted to just drive away by car, their plan is to hurry to the hospital and have Kelly fly them out to safety using a medevac helicopter.
Alright, listen, whatever happens inside, we all protect Kelly.
What is this, the Titanic? Screw the women and children first shit, man.
Unless you can fly the helicopter, shut the f*** up.
With his plasmacaster sensors damaged in his previous engagements with the aliens, the Hunter transforms his weapon into a handheld pistol and follows the aliens, hoping to destroy the hive. Making their way up the stairs, the group run into the middle of an Alien vs Predator Requiem battle. Killing a number of Xenomorphs in close combat and even injuring the Predalien Queen, the Hunter throws its giant shurikens in the direction of more aliens running towards it. Unfortunately, after the daggers cut through the creatures, they continue flying down the corridor, impaling Jessie. Angry that it killed her, Ricky fires upon the Predator, which just looks at the pleb confused, before being knocked down the elevator shaft by another Xenomorph. With Ricky then getting impaled in the chest by the Predalien, Dallas opens fire, forcing it to retreat. However, although it runs away, it calls upon its drones for aid, forcing them onto the roof. At the same time, Eddie and what's left of the town look around in shock and confusion, as they're picked off by the large number of aliens surrounding them. Getting to the chopper with a kind of urgency that Dutch would appreciate, the group kill more aliens as the helicopter is fired up. As they begin to run out of ammo, the Predator jumps onto the roof and inadvertently saves them once again. Killing every Xenomorph in its path while taming the unholy shrew known as the Predalien in an epic showdown, the Elite demonstrates why he came here to hunt the creatures alone. Removing his helmet and equipment, it confronts the Predalien by hand, ripping out its mouth and stabbing its face, killing it as the Predalien got its payback by also impaling him. As the group fly away to safety, Eddie and the remaining survivors in the middle of the city look up, hoping to see a rescue, only to see a jet dropping the bomb, incinerating everything. Despite the explosion, Kelly manages to pilot the chopper to a fairly safe crash landing, saving all 4 of them, who were then surrounded by special forces. While the team provide medical care to the injured Ricky, they also disarm them and confiscate the plasma caster that Dallas had recovered from the Predator. We then pick up with Colonel Stevens, who hands the device over to Miss Yutani, owner of Yutani Corp, way before its forced merger with Wayland Industries, nearly 100 years later.
The world isn't ready for this technology.
But this isn't for our world, is it, Miss Yutani?
With that said, that's all for today, folks. If you want to find out more about the expanded Aliens and Predator universe, I have over 50 videos covering both topics in separate playlists that I'll be leaving a link to below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if there's anything else you'd like to request, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film and Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
I think the Colonel was lying.
That's crazy. The government doesn't lie to people.
Stop the cap.